everybody, and welcome back to another episode of El Koki Otaku. Today with us, we have a very special guest. His name is Brandon Acosta. But before we even bring him on stage, I want to say that he plays the voice of Takumi Kuruya in Dead Mount Deathplay, Kenanji Avery in Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, which we definitely have to talk about that one. And Leonardo Luna in Blue Lock, Deng in Link Click, and a lot of video game characters too. So actually, before I even keep saying anything, please give it up for Brandon Acosta.
Hello. ¿Cómo estás todos?
Welcome,
Bienvenidos.
Thank you, Brandon. Oh, I see the background for Onyx. We had a little intruder, but whatever. Thank you, Brandon, so much for being with us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
If by any chance suddenly you see like a lamp falling or something, it's a cat. Now I'm kind of worried because I have like a light over there, but we'll see where this goes.
It's always when you're not looking that they take their chance to swipe. I have two cats in my house. I keep my door closed to avoid that, man. I got stuff that I cannot afford that to happen to.
No, definitely.
So they love to play Gravity.
Oh, which one we want to start? We want to start with the space, or we're going to start on Air? Do this two live in one.
Let's start with Mobile Suit Gundam. Suit Gundam because I really liked Dead Mount Deathplay, but I don't know, like I've never before watched Mobile Suit Gundam or anything regarding mecha. That is definitely Edwin's niche, not mine. I really never cared for it, and then we put the first episode and we were hooked. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised with Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. It was a great one. But before I even ask about that character, how would you describe that series in particular?
Well, I want to start by saying, like, I am a huge fan of Gundam. I was already watching The Witch from Mercury before, like we got auditions for it, basically. So, and G-Witch is really interesting because it's so different from a lot of other Gundam series. It was very like popular. It's probably the most popular Gundam series I think I've seen in years, and like that explains why it just hooked you immediately. And so it's super fun. Like, man, my favorite. I just want to throw it there too. By the way, my favorite Gundam is G Gundam, now and forever. Domonkashu is my boy now and forever.
Man, I gotta say the ending. Go Edwin.
Gundam Double Zero was pretty nice too.
They just put out 00 on like the official Gundam YouTube channel. You can watch for free. I've never seen it. I'm about to start watching it.
It's really nice. Actually, it's my favorite Gundam.
I haven't seen it in years. Like in years. But you mentioned something, the popularity of Gundam with The Witch of Mercury. I have to confess something. I'm one of those guys who make it halfway to the series, because I remember seeing when we started a podcast and we would start going to conventions, the commercial, the ads everywhere was The Witch of Mercury. Funimation, when I was doing the merge with Crunchyroll, was like Funimation, The Witch of Mercury, and I was like, what's going on here? What? I don't get it. How we have Gundam Witch and we'll make it to witchcraft, which I was kind of lost. So how do you describe that series for those who are thinking, wait, Gundam Witch with witchcraft and magic now?
So every series, a Gundam is like a type of mobile suit. The mobile suit is just a giant mech, right? And what a Gundam is different in every series, right? So in Gundam Witch from Mercury, Gundams are like this special type of mobile suit that run on this technology that can kill you if it is, used wrong. And so that's why it's kind of outlawed. And they call it a witch hunt on Gundams, right? So that's why they call people who use Gundams in the series witches. So it's why the main character is the Witch from Mercury.
Which it brings a lot of interesting concepts, like you mentioned, and with some witchcraft, we see some terms like data stormers, and we see our main character suffering.
God, yeah.
So you have two characters in this series. You have one in the episode 0, and we have then the one that is a very key person in the peak of the season 2.
Here's the fun thing about that. That's the same person. That's the same person.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. Like, they never really call attention to the fact that that's the same person. So I don't blame anybody who goes through the whole thing and just doesn't notice it, because he looks completely different when he comes back. It's like 20-something years in the future.
Right.
And
okay.
It's making sense now to me, months after finish the series. So that's what I feel like running back to watch it again. Oh, now it makes sense.
My character, actually, like, on the subject of the witch hunt, my character is part of a force that is called the Witch Hunters. They're hunting the Gundams. I fight a lot of Gundams in that series, which is insane to me to think that I get to. I say that. That's a thing that happened, you know.
And like Brandon said, go ahead. Gundam Wing, we have a new concept. Like every season, type of story is a different issue. The Gundam with the mobile suit, but in this case, we're dealing like this Gundam that technically, as the pilot the Gundam, their life keep getting taken by the machine, and we're dealing with a new series. We have a lot of political. I mean, Gundam Wings always have political topic, but this time they're like on their new speech like, we need to watch out this Gundam because human should kill human, not the machine the human. And that was episode 0 to start with. Very heavy words. So how you felt being part of a series where you're thinking about a lot of heavy concept, political driven in this series, with a new concept of life, when it's right to take somebody's life, but it's wrong that the machine takes somebody's life. How was the experience?
So I just want to say first, like, getting that email that told me that, you know, I was going to get to be Kenanji was insane, because I build Gunpla, right? I got really into Gundam again during the pandemic, and I started building Gunpla. I kid you not, I had literally just come back from a Hobbytown, USA with a Barbatos Gunpla from Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I saw the email. I was like, hey, you're gonna be Kenanji. Who's Kenanji? That's the guy from the episode 0. And I found out he has a mobile suit that has a Gunpla, so I built that before it premiered in the English. So I was extremely excited. I was like, I count that as a blessing, man, 100%. As far as just kind of the themes of the series, Kenanji's a really weird character to me. Because he is responsible. This is not really a spoiler. He does this in the first episode. He kind of kills the main character's father and never really is like called out for it. It never really comes back to him. But you get the sense that in the years that pass between the prologue and the main series, that he either has kind of atoned for it, is like kind of put it behind him, because he's like an authority figure. There's a moment near the end of the series where he straight up tells the main cast, who are all like children, they're like teenagers, like, hey, if it gets bad, you're getting out of there. We're adults. We're not going to let you be in danger. And like, for that character who's done all of that awful stuff, to say that is wild to me. But as far as everything else, I think it's really funny. So Gundam, the way that G-Witch kind of attracted people was like, oh, it's cool. It's a little school like series. And then you get to the end of the first part, right? And it's like with the slap, it's like, no, this is what Gundam is. You're in forever now. And it's like a Trojan horse sort of thing. It's really fun. I'm really happy that series attracted people onto the Gundam train.
Actually, having a main character that is female, and having like her counterpart that is also female, is another important point, because they're trying to be progressive now on that aspect. It's something new when you think about Gundam.
Oh yeah, Soletta and Miorine are wonderful characters. I love them.
And but I gotta say the score for the entire series was so on point that I gotta say that was one of my the visuals were awesome. They were beautiful, but the score itself is one of the things that just kept me coming back. Apart from the drama and everything, that I was on the edge of my seat in some of those episodes, and some of the other ones, like I even cried But every time that opening, especially the ending, would come up, I was like, "Oh, we gotta listen to this." And I'm the type of person.
Oh my god, the
Onyx
opening, the ending of the second season, like the red bird from with the dance and everything.
Oh my god, that was my favorite.
Yes,
my favorite.
That's my ending of the year so far.
Yes, Onyx can attest to that. I'm the type of person who will always like skip openings and will skip endings. But I had to sit through all of Gundam's, like Witch from Mercury. I had to sit through all of them because it was that good.
It's so fun. I miss it. I really do.
Yeah, it's kind of early right now to be calling the shots, but definitely when I saw it, I knew immediately this ending better be as one of the Crunchyroll Awards, at least nominees for the ending sequel, because it is. I get speechless. I don't know how to describe
iconic.
It. It was so great.
Like chills.
It's iconic.
Every time I watch it.
Yes.
And it really has the perfect. Many animes, the sequels are very important, but not all of them make it to connect the first melody of the ending with what's happening in the story. That's fade out to it, and Gundam win.
There's so many episodes where they do that, where it starts right, and then like when it finally like goes into the main part of the opening, the ending. I'm just, it's painful. It's so they know. I love anime that do that.
Exactly, and we see our main character crying, devastated, in outer space, abandoned, and suddenly we hear in the background, and we're like, "Oh no, here it goes!" No, definitely, I'm really looking forward for that nomination to the Crunchyroll Award 2023 because so far I can call
that one. I don't know if you guys have seen Oshinoko. The opening and ending of that one are also amazing.
Yes.
Opening.
Yes. I love
the opening. It's really nice too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me make a look at a small parenthesis here. Even though Oshinoko's one are like really, really good and they're very catchy, I think if one of the two, like opening and ending for Oshinoko is gonna win, it's gotta be the opening. But the ending for me will definitely still be Mobile Suit Gundam because it was so gripping and oh my god, I can't get over it.
Yeah, it's
Oshinoko is being a worldwide phenomenon.
JoJo, but like the first couple parts of JoJo with Roundabout, the same thing. They start with Roundabout and it just like like that. I love that stuff.
Oshinoko, it will be interesting. I mean, like, can we just give that award already? Because the problem here is that when we see to the global record ranking of the music globally, Oshinoko making over there for weeks. And it went not down, and I haven't seen any anime song opening making going to the global number and staying over there for weeks. So just hanging over already. But ending sequence, definitely. That's going to be a nice battle. And
I'm biased so
far. So when we speak about Gundam Wing, any moment, and it's kind of hard question, that will bring you great memory or shock you and say, okay, big important scene, it really had me excited, crying, goosebumps. Which should the first scene that crossed your mind?
So I said G Gundam earlier. I actually never finished Gundam Wing. I started watching Gundam Wing, but I missed the boat right when it was airing. G Gundam, the one with Domon Kashu, the shining Gundam, the one with his like the shining finger, that one's my favorite. And I would say that one, anytime he just goes like, I'm sorry, let me rewind. I remember I had never seen Gundam before. I was like 8 years old, right? And I was watching Cartoon Network. I see the commercial for Toonami, and I see the commercial for G Gundam. It's like, take this, my love, my anger, and all of my sorrow. And I thought that was the cheesiest thing on the planet. I'm like, this is so stupid. And then one day I just start watching it, and by the end, I just like weeks later, I'm like, I just watched all of G Gundam. This is the best thing in my whole life. I love G Gundam, bro.
Definitely.
I can feel it actually.
Yeah, I've seen like a quarter or like a third of Gundam Wing. I still haven't finished it, but that is on my list.
And actually, the good thing about Gundam, when you think about it, is that the history of Gundam is really like even from Getter Robot. when Ghetto Robots started, Gundam was there. Basically, Mazinger Z is the only anime like was before Gundam when you think about mechas. I am not a fan of mechas, but again, I got many friends that are on that. I like Gundam Double Zero. I'm more into Evangelion, that is humanoids, these persons, basically.
Don't start doing. Hold it. Don't bring Evangelion.
I love Ava too. I love Ava too. Ava's very
yeah, but that's a religion for Edwin. Watch out. Don't fall in that trap. You will need 90 minutes.
You gotta make a voice actor now, bro. It's like, what can I say? So I told you that my character in Gundam has a mobile suit at the beginning in the prologue, which has a gun plug, and I built it.
Let's see. Can you
put it back.
Wow.
Oh. There we go.
Yeah.
No, and see, the thing is with these guys, you have to they come without like the black parts of the lining. You have to add that manually. And for this, like I had to do it. Like I usually keep this guy on my nightstand, but I had to bring this to show you guys.
No, thank you so much. That's a lot of work too. You know.
Yeah, this guy was like 2 afternoons. We had a winter freeze in February, and I literally had nothing else to do. I'm like, it's time to actually work on this.
And a few weeks ago, when I was in Puerto Rico, I was meeting with a group of Gunplan builders, and they're very something serious for real. Like this guy, they don't play with this. They're like making real big deals over there. And trust me, they have someone in the table on display, and I got so scared every time any parents bring their own small kid. They're like, oh, and they're like, don't touch that kid, don't touch it,
God,
please.
No, man, it's not a toy. Please do not. That is one of the reasons why the cat's in my house. I always keep my door closed. I don't want to risk it, bro. Like that is hours of blood, sweat, and tears.
So for those of us who have no clue, I've heard of Gunpla. I have no clue though. Like what do you do? Like obviously you're good at build it, but for those of us who have no clue, like how would you describe this?
So have you ever heard of the term like a model kit? Like, you know, like if you go to a hobby store, you see like they have model planes, model cars and stuff. It's basically that, but for Gundams. Not for Gundams, for like mobile suits from Gundam.
Right.
And you have to actually like, they come in like little frames and stuff, and you have to actually like nip them out, like exactly. And then you just put them together as the instructions show you. It takes a lot of work, but it's so satisfying once you have it done.
Yeah, basically this is those plastic figures that many popular anime culture use, but Gundam got so good at it that they called Gunpla. It's
a whole subculture.
Yeah, it's madness.
Okay,
Same brain.
Got it.
But now moving forward.
We don't play about this stuff.
No.
All right, so Brandon, moving on to Takumi Kuruya in Dead Mount Death Play. My God, I swear that title is a tongue twister in itself. But anyway, in Dead Mount Death Play, before we even talk about your character, how would you describe this series in particular? It was so... for me, it was really weird compared to any other anime I've seen, but I'll leave that to you.
So Dead Mount Death Play is really interesting. If anybody here is familiar with Bakano and Durarara, those are both fantastic anime. Dead Mount Death Play is written by the same author, and it definitely, like, you can tell. Dead Mount Death Play is this kind of like, not really comedy of errors or anything, but there's so many characters, and it dives into just basically their daily lives, their routines, and how all of those motivations just connect with each other. It's like, and on top of that, it's like an isekai, but like the reverse. Somebody from another world ends up in this world, and he still has his powers from that world, and just kind of like learning, like, how did I get here? Why do I still have my powers? Are there other people from my world leaking into this one? And the mystery of that is so interesting. And just like balancing that with all these like big characters, man, like it's so much fun.
And let me do a stop here to speak about Durarara. I like Bacano, but Durarara is another thing, and I think it's underrated. As well as Bacano, come on. But the thing with Durarara is that basically the evolution of each character of that anime is so impressive, because that's the word actually. They got every character that they introduced on that series, and they explain basically all the aspects, and those aspects that they built over that character include mystery, include a really good background. They're really like complete. They're like main characters everywhere, basically.
Yes, and every character's main character. That's what I love about this series.
And that's mind-blowing when you think about those type of series. There's only a few animes that achieve that, and Durarara is actually one of those. And when you see Deadpool's Dead Play, you're getting the same feeling. Now that you mentioned it, I didn't know about it. I learned from you about this.
Yeah, when I got the email, the casting email saying like, "Oh, would you? This person would like to cast you as Takumi Kuruya in Dead Mount Death Play." I'm like, I've never heard of that. I look it up. I see that it's written by the same guy, and I frigging love Baccano. Like Baccano to me is one of my favorite anime. So, I lost my mind.
And let me tell you, Dead Mount Death Play, it really hits some emotional moments, scenes on it, which really caught my attention, because first I see people, I feel like people were not expecting to be that great deal, or it came under the radar, because we have the top of the season.
For sure. Yeah.
And suddenly I see all internet speaking about it, the reverse isekai, a guy using skeletons here, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And suddenly I hear somebody posting, OMG, this episode I cried so much, and I'm like, hold it, what's going on here for real? And I had to run to watch it, and lucky me, I see they dub it kind of fast compared with other anime, so like perfect early dubbing, I can watch it now. And damn, I wasn't ready to see what I see in that series. So
but it's great. The animation is great. The music is great. Basically, the design of the design of the character is also impressive. But maybe my only concern was for the skeletons. I think they may do a little bit better skeletons on that part. Besides that, it's a great series. It's like incredible. And on those lines, the other thing about this series is that it's so choking when you see every type of death, like everyone's died there at some point, they get revived. There is those twists on the plot that you don't ever expect. Is mind-blowing.
So Brandon, tell us.
No, sorry, continue.
No, go ahead. Tell us, from this series, which was that moment that really hit you hard, like, or one of the most favorite part of this series?
Of this series?
You can spoiler. Don't worry about spoiler. It have been months already. It's out. Who haven't seen it, now they're going to watch it.
I'm just rolling through it. I'm just rolling through it in my head. There's a part kind of later in the first core of the series where, you know, they build this mystery around this symbol, right? This symbol that keeps getting passed around. Like Solitaire is kind of like this. If you ever seen My Hero Academia, he's basically gentle in a world where, you know, like supernatural stuff is happening. It's super fun. And he's just trying to stir stuff around. It's like he finds out about this symbol. Like, oh, what does it mean? And so he just puts it out on a blimp, and then the main character Polka sees it, and he's like, oh my God, that's the symbol from my old empire. What the hell is going on? And as a viewer, as somebody who's new to that story, I'm like, oh my God, like stuff from that world is coming to this world too. What the heck? I love that plot twist.
And actually, just going on that point too, another important thing of Takumi is that it's one of the few characters that is focused on getting information. Like when you think about the character that you are like doing the voice acting there, he focused on just having runs around, controlling technology, just to keep everyone informed. And he's almost freelance at some point because he worked with other people.
He's basically freelance,
He tried to survive. Yeah, he tried to survive too.
It's hard out here, bro. You gotta have a hustle.
It sounds more like a forced freelance because he's a freelancer, but the mafia behind him, like, oh yeah, he's like, you're a freelancer, sure, going to work for me, right? So yeah, kind of forces freelance.
Every one of these stories has to have a guy who just doesn't want to be there, and Takumi is that guy. Like when I came in for the first session, Jason Lord, who's the director at Crunchyroll, he told me, like, hey, so you're basically the guy in the chair. You're Ned to Spider-Man. Like that's who Takumi kind of is, but he doesn't want to be, and that's what makes him funny.
Yes, that's true. And he's always worried about this stuff.
He eventually he starts to actually like Polka and Misaki, and that adds in a layer of interesting stuff to it.
Oh, yes.
I still can get over the episode. I think it was episode 3, where he used the skeleton to save the parents of the kid on the orphan.
Oh my gosh, that part!
And that was the moment that went viral. And I'm going to drop a spoiler here, guys. It's too late for you guys to be crying for spoilers. And some people appreciate the spoilers.
So go ahead.
Yeah, let's drop it. So we had this moment where technically a fire happened, and where is fire? So the orphan. Oh yes, it's an orphan. Kids are going to die. Oh my god! And suddenly he decided to fly over there. We still later explain why he has a strong attachment for kids and why he was so worried. But when he gets to the scene, he made a magic that nobody was expecting. He used the souls of the parents of those kids to save their actual kids. And that moment, I get the goosebumps. Mm-hmm. It was so deep that it went viral. And that was the moment, that scene that came to my hands, like, hey, you need to watch it. I'm like, wait, what's going on? And damn, epic moment. I think from that point on, the series was in that more defined direction.
Let's keep in mind.
Polka's such an interesting character.
Oh, yes. And let's keep in mind that Rich is around, that it's a Shinigami show, that when you think about it, there is some parallels on that. Let's keep in mind that we're having One Piece movie. There is many things, important things running now on the last weeks. And we have this series that is surviving with these big animes around. And that's impressive.
Moving on to something more live, with more sweat, more adrenaline, more action. We're talking about Blue Lock, where you had the character of Leonardo Luna. So tell us about the experience.
So
wait, go ahead.
So basically,
let's speak about you quick. So Brandon Acosta, Luna Acosta, how Brandon Acosta making here to the anime world doing? Because now we see a relationship between Leonardo Luna and Brandon Acosta, two Spanish lasting here. Was casualty, or what's your story? How do you get here to the anime world?
So, I mean, I've been doing theater ever since I was in high school, and I did it into college too. And I've always been like a massive nerd. I'm wearing a Bleach shirt right now, right? Bleach is one of my favorite anime, if I had to name one. My number one favorite is One Piece. But, I've always been into video games and stuff, and I always kind of had an interest as an actor. It's like, who are the people who provide these voices? Because you play enough video games, you play enough anime, you watch enough anime, and you start to realize that a lot of the same people are doing these sort of things. So I always had an interest in it. And then in college, I took classes for it. And the director at my college, she did a voiceover course. And that's what kind of set me on this path. I started doing some fan work for this website called Zelda Universe for their fan dubs and stuff way back in the day. That's kind of how I got my start. First things I ever did voiceover wise. And then when the pandemic hit, I was out of a job and just sitting around doing nothing, making unemployment. I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna have a better chance. I bought a nice interface. I made myself a booth, and I started actually producing a demo, sending my stuff out. I started to get professional work, and then I told myself, I had friends at the time who lived in Texas already, and I knew that here in Texas is where a lot of anime gets done at Crunchyroll. So I made the move it's just over a year ago now, and moving in with a couple friends of mine who just happened to have a room available, and taking a lot of classes, man. I've been hustling a little bit. I honestly am shocked that I've gotten to where I have in just a year. A lot of people have told me it's very atypical. Yeah, and I'm truly grateful for it, man. I don't want to take that for granted. But that's how I'm here. That's Gundam happened maybe 5 months after I moved here. That was January that was January. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Deadmon the Prey, Mobile Suit Gundam, Blue Lock. We're speaking about 3 big anime when you think about it.
Yeah.
They're all.
I feel really lucky, but the thing about luck that I always try to remind myself is luck is just preparation meeting opportunity. You know, like I had kind of the skills. I was in the right place at the right time. I knew the right people. They, you know, like were able to vouch for me and stuff. And that's how I'm here. It's wonderful, man. I'm really grateful.
Talent too, man. You know, there is always talent behind that and hard work.
Yeah, and it's. So I just wanted to say one thing before we move on. There was a comment I remember when I posted about me being Kenanji in Gundam, right? There was just this random Twitter comment. I was like, "Un Boricua in Gundam," right? I was like, "Shit, man." Yeah, man. Nice. We do got a Boricua in Gundam. Hell yeah, bro.
That was should be.
Look at him in it.
That stuff makes me like really, really happy too. I don't know if you guys have seen Blue Beetle yet.
Not yet.
Some episode.
So you.
But I know it was recorded over there. Yeah.
Yeah, they made that in PR. Like the director's Puerto Rican too, and man, they just made that movie for us, bro. Like that, seeing that movie really kind of made me feel more appreciative for like my culture, my history, and I want to be more proud of that going forward. Which is why I'm trying to learn Spanish for real this time. I've been listening to more music too. I've been listening to some Willie Colon, listening to some Rublades, like trying to get.
Oh, that's good. That's really nice.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised you didn't say Bad Bunny. I was like, wait, he's going to throw Bad Bunny somewhere.
I mean, I was listening to Bad Bunny, but to me, like Puerto Rican music is like the stuff that my mom would have on in the background while we were cooking or like cleaning or something, right? I want to have more an appreciation for that stuff. I already listen to Bad Bunny, man. What are you talking about?
So from a Boricua in Mobile Suit in the space fighting and dealing with dead and mount-dead play. So now we have a Boricua playing soccer, football. So Blue Lock, Leonardo Luna. Tell us about this series for those who haven't seen yet. What it's about?
So Blue Lock is it's kind of like a battle royale anime, meaning with like a sports anime, right? So it's about soccer, obviously, and just it kind of espouses the idea of like Japan putting this program together, the Blue Lock Project, in order to create the greatest striker in the world, the greatest ace player for soccer in the world, somebody that will lead the Japan team to the World Cup. And that'll win the World Cup. And that's the hook of the series. And it follows this kid named Isagi, kind of like as he's, you know, like battling his way through Blue Lock. And it's oh my God, it's so like intense and it's so like brutal and hype and it's like it's so much fun to watch, man. And I play this character Leonardo Luna, who the runner, like basically the director of the Blue Lock Project, he brings in 5 of the best players on the planet. Like they call them the World 5 straight up, because like there's one from Spain, there's one from I want to say Brazil or Argentina, there's one from France, there's one from Britain. They're like the best of the best. And so this comes at like the end of the first season where all the characters are like thinking they're hot shit. And so the director's like, no, you're not. But let's bring in these guys. And my character just fucking humbles them, man. It's so funny. It like there's a bit where, you know, one of the main characters, Reen, like kind of like has like a one-on-one with him. Like he's trying to get through him and he just like passes the ball through his legs and he says something I'll never forget. He says like, that's no good. If you open your legs that easily, people are going to start thinking you're a loose guy. And he just makes the shot and gets the goal like that. It's so good, man. Like that show is so so nasty, bro. I love it. People are so like evil in that show. And I can't stop watching it. It's so fun.
Do you see any similarity with trios for mouth talking when we were playing sport? Like I remember volleyball. We used to play volleyball. Damn, we speak
trash talking. You mean trash talking?
Yeah, no,
you do talk with your mouth.
Blue Lock is trash talk all the time, dude. People say the most like vile things to each other, and they mean it too, which makes it better.
Which is great. Those who play in my times in Puerto Rico, when I used to play volleyball, damn, we trash talk under the net a lot. Sometimes I'm thinking about how we didn't get red cards.
It's kind of toxic. It's kind of toxic, but it's part of the sport a little bit, you know? Like, especially if you're playing with your boys.
Brandon, also, before we wrap it up, video games. You are also a big person in the video game industry. Tell us which will be your actual and latest work in the video game that people need to know about it.
Well, I would say like the one that I always need to bring up is Our Life, Beginnings and Always. It's a visual novel that's out on Steam, and I play. If you guys have ever seen the movie Boyhood, it's kind of like the one that goes like you follow like a kid's life from like childhood to adulthood, and it's the same actor. It's like that, where it's like the main character has 4 different voice actors, and I voice him as an adult, like the final part. And then there's also like a DLC where you get to have a wedding with him. He's basically the love interest, and I voice him like in that. And I am blown away by how popular that character still is, because I went to, if you're all into Final Fantasy 14, I was at the Fan Fest about a month ago, and somebody recognized me in the crowd, was like, "Are you Brandon Acosta? Can I get a picture? Like, you're Cove, right?" I'm like, wow, damn, like, it's okay, yeah, of course, I'd love to. But I'm like, wow, people love Cove. Actually, hold on. They made a plushie of him, and the creator of the game was like, "Hey, we're making plushies. Do you want one?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." Yes.
Yeah, that's so cute.
That's like a bucket list thing for any voice actor to have merchandise of a character that they play, man. I keep him in my booth right here.
No, definitely. So, how that feeling? How would you describe that feeling when you go to a convention and people recognize you, when your work doesn't imply to showing your face, but people are recognizing you? I mean, today social media is a big impact on it, but how's the feeling about it?
It's a little weird. Like I've run into this a little bit since I started working at Crunchyroll, where I'll introduce myself to somebody and they'll be like, "You're Brandon Acosta, right? Oh, I know you from Twitter." And in my mind, the first instinct is like, I hope it's a good thing, right? That's usually what it is. And it's sometimes too, it's like, "Oh man, you're great in I love you in Dead Mountain Death Play. Like you're super fun in that." Like it's I'm not used to it, but it's a good feeling.
I can picture you on Twitter. Okay, what was my last tweet? Okay, on tweet.
No,
Nice to meet you.
My dude, if you look at my Twitter, most of it is just like video games and voice acting. That's it. Like I just my feed from today is all just like, oh, the Nintendo Direct and the Sony State of Play. That's it.
Awesome. Random.
I'm ride or die for that stuff.
No, definitely. One last question: which kind of in the future, what kind of project or type of anime would you like to be involved with? Like action, still, sci-fi, go to rom-coms? What kind of action anime field would you love to be in?
So if we're, can I give 2 answers?
All the answers you want.
Of course.
Okay. So anime-wise, like I'm a big fan of Shonen Jump. Shonen Jump is basically how I got into anime in general. Like I said, wearing a Bleach shirt, I have a ton of like One Piece, Naruto, stuff like that in here. I would love to one day, if it ever like became a possibility, to voice like either one of the lead characters in a Shonen Jump anime or like one of the main characters. Like I would, that's a dream role for me. And just in general, like voice acting wise, like if like top of the bucket list right there is Spider-Man. Dude, like if I ever got to be Spider-Man in anything, that would be it. I'd be like, yeah, I can die now.
I see that. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. For those who haven't followed you yet, where can they follow, especially on Twitter or X or
No, I refuse to call it X, man. It's Twitter forever. So Twitter is gonna be at Kingly Red, and so that's gonna be at KINGLYRED. Kingly Red, as in the King of Red Lions. That's where that comes from. Again, huge Zelda fan. And that's most of what I do is there. It's the same at on Instagram and everything. And yeah, if you want to follow me and hear my takes on video games, and that's where I'll be.
Awesome. And for those who haven't followed, make it easy for you guys. Go down to the description. You're going to find Brandon, all links to his social media. Down in the description, just spam, click over there. Easy job, done for you. And for us to create, like, and share in all our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, very important, and Twitch, everywhere we're going to be involved. So, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and definitely we're looking forward to keep hearing more about you. So we'll see you in the next episode.
So it's an honor to be here, man. Thank you guys. You have a wonderful night.
Thanks. Sayonara.